you guys? It's your girl Shay, and we are back for yet another video. If you guys cannot tell from the title, this will be a story time. You guys seem to really love my story times, so I figured, let me go ahead and dig deep down in my brain and see what I can pull out for you guys, because y'all know I have a terrible memory. So today's story time will basically be about the time that my best friend tried to jump me. I know y'all probably like, what the hell, girl? Of course, it's not my current best friend. It's the best friend that I had a while ago. So we're going to go ahead and jump straight on into this story. So go ahead, grab your little snack, get comfy, because we're about to go ahead and jump straight on into this story time. Okay, so first things first, y'all know it would not be me if I didn't give you some type of backstory on each character. Ruby was my best friend. Prior to this incident, Ruby and I had probably been best friends for probably like 2.5, maybe 3 years. So we had been pretty, close. We had developed a very close bond and friendship over time. We were literally like spending night over each other's house. We would go out together. We had classes together. Like, we were almost inseparable. Like, if you saw me, you saw Ruby. If you saw Ruby, you saw me. Like, that type of thing. So this girl was very much my closest and dearest friend. That's why I was just like, oh my god, like, really, you gonna do me like that? But anyway, so there's Ruby. Then we also have Puff, which Puff is Ruby's other best friend. Puff and I never had like any type of falling out. I never got any bad vibes from Puff, but for whatever reason, Puff and I never became like best friends. It was never like a trio. It was just like, okay, me and Ruby are together probably like I say like maybe 60-70% of the time, and the other percent of the time, if she wasn't with me, she was probably with Puff. Which, like I said, Puff never did anything to me. We just never had a chance to just really hit it off like Ruby and I did. Sweet girl. We never became cool for whatever reason. Next, we have a character named Jody. Jody is really kind of just like this random guy. He ended up coming to the school a year after Ruby and I did, and he was an athlete. And basically, like, yeah, we basically like had one class together because, like I said, he was a grade under me, so we kind of came cool between that. But you'll see how he plays a part in all of this as the story develops. And lastly, we have one more girl, which she's her part isn't really as significant, really. But what we gonna call her? We gonna call her Big Mama. So Big Mama is another one of Ruby's friends who I just did not really cling to. Like, initially, again, me and Big Mama have never had any type of falling out or anything. I mean, when all of us would come together and hang out, like, it was still good vibes. I was still cool with Big Mama and Puff. But again, Ruby was just closer to these girls and had an actual connection with these girls, and I didn't. I was just like, we were all just mutual friends of Ruby. So that's how we all ended up coming together and hanging out. But I just never had a real connection with Big Mama or Puff. But again, they never did anything to me. At this point in time, like I said, Ruby and I had probably been friends for probably about 3 years. I'm not really sure how Ruby and I met. It was probably just through like classes or whatever that we had together. But we had met, we had become best friends. Like I said before, we spent so much time together, and like we just chilled and kicked it like all the time. Like, I was always at her house, she was always at mine. We were always going places together. We were always doing stuff together. Like, it was just good vibes. At this point, like I said, Ruby and I had been friends 3 years prior. So now this was the start of a new school year. And for whatever reason, I kind of noticed during this school year, Ruby and I didn't have any classes together, and we weren't spending like as much time together outside of school. We kind of just drifted apart like really randomly and really fast, which we didn't fall out. There was no animosity on my end. I don't feel like I did anything. I didn't feel like Ruby had did anything to me. I just really felt like it was like we just kind of drifted. And I mean, maybe in that moment I probably was kind of sad about it, but like thinking back now, I don't even think I was really upset about it. It's just like, people get older, I guess, and outgrow each other. Like, I had accepted it or whatever. It was cool. Like, we still spoke on occasions, and we still kind of talked to each other within the hallways, and like if we went out, we would see each other and speak, but it was never that same like best friend bond. You could definitely tell that something was different but it was just weird. Also, I didn't mention, but during this time, Ruby and Puff were starting to get a lot closer, I guess, because they had classes together and they were probably spending a lot more time together. But again, it didn't really bother me. Like I said, at this point in time, before the incident occurred, Ruby and I were still communicating, so it was just like, okay, whatever, we're not as close as we used to be. Well, we still cool, you know, that's still my girl. We'll eventually get back to that point, whatever, wasn't sweating. So now we fast forward, and this is where, like I said, Jody was a year behind us, so he's just now coming into the school. I didn't know Jody personally, hadn't really heard much about him other than the fact that he was an athlete, and everybody just said he was just so good at this sport, and da 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 this, blah 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 blah. When I saw Jody, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, and just dude, whatever. But you know how it is when new people come into the school, everybody's kind of like, oh, he's new, he's an athlete, and it's just, oh, I wasn't on all that. But yeah, like I said, Jody was really like not anybody special to me, but over the time we had an elective course together, so eventually Jody and I became friends. This is around the time that I was really starting to get into like taking pictures and YouTube, and I would always have my camera in class or around, and I would always take pictures of like Jody or Big Mama was also in the class together with me. We would take pictures. I would take pictures other guys in the classroom, just because I was the person with the camera and social media was booming around this time. People just wanted to take pictures, and that's what we would do in class, take pictures. So now we fast forward into the school year. At this point, Ruby and I have went from talking like every day to now we barely even know each other, really. Like, we weren't going places anymore. We weren't going places together anymore. We weren't, of course, like I said, we didn't have any classes together. She wasn't coming over my house. It was just like a really crazy dynamic. At this point in time now, Jody and Ruby have started to date. Okay, cool, perfectly fine, you know, on my end. Again, Ruby and I, we weren't just like complete strangers. I know I keep saying like we just stopped talking or whatever. We weren't complete strangers, but at the same time, just to go from like literally having somebody that you talk to literally all day, every day, to we barely even hear from each other, it's felt like we were strangers, because like you were like my sister yesterday, and now like I never hear from you. But yeah, so Jody and Ruby have started dating. Now mind you, Jody, Big Mama, and I are all still in this elective class together. It was also, you know, of course, other students in there that we all kind of used to hang around. But one thing that I do remember was that it was a large amount of guys in this class for whatever reason, and it was a smaller number of girls. And out of the girls, I know Big Mama and myself, it will be us and probably like 3, maybe 4 guys that will all engage in conversation. And we were just like, we were really like the class clowns, like the kids is always acting up, getting on teachers' nerves. Like I said, we used to take pictures. I always got something smart to say. I was off task, just always up walking around, always getting fussed at. Like, we were the bad kids in the class. But we never really got in trouble, like as far as being sent to the office. We kind of just got fussed at and stuff like that, like little small classroom infractions, nothing like that was worth going to detention or getting expelled or suspended over, just little small stuff. So mind you, at this point in time, we're all like, you know, little horny teenagers, and everybody in our friend circle, if I'm not mistaken, at this time had a boyfriend or girlfriend, or if not a boyfriend or girlfriend, somebody that they were like openly dating. Like, it was not a secret, because, you know, we're in school in Mississippi, so like everybody's business is everybody's business, you know. So all of us were like kind of openly dating or whatever. And I just know every day, like little old people, we would sit in the classroom and like kind of just talk about our boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever. Not necessarily always in a bad way, but just like, oh yeah, I was talking to such and such the other day, and like we were chilling in her room, or me and my guy went out for dinner the other day, like little small stuff like that. So we would all just sit up and talk about our problems. We would talk about like, I know if Big Mama, like she was dating a guy, she was like, oh, but this girl was trying to flirt with him and like that type of stuff. Jody started talking about Ruby so bad. Now mind you, Ruby, like I said, me and Ruby were like this, now we kind of like this, but Ruby is also still friends with Big Mama, and her and Big Mama relationship is still, you know, as solid as it was from day one. And like I said, Jody would come in, he would say little small stuff, and it would be little things like and I don't want to say this is exactly what he was saying because it's been so long ago, y'all. I honestly don't remember, but it was a lot of negative stuff. I do know that it was something to the effect of like, she don't want to put out, and I ain't got time for that. Like, I'm gonna leave her if she don't do this and do that. And you know, it was basically like me and Big Mama were kind of like one of the guys. Like, you know how guys, y'all sit up and y'all talk crap about your girls when we do little crazy stuff. It was one of those. But however, I feel like it was getting out of hand because it went from like, okay, maybe one or two conversations to you doing this every day. Like, this is like the highlight of your day, almost coming into class talking about your own girlfriend and what she's not doing. And I had a problem with that because my thing is like, this is my best friend at one point. If I was in this situation, I want my homegirl to tell me. I really want my homegirl to check him and be like, stop that, cut that out, like, don't do that, don't talk about her like that. And honestly, y'all, I cannot remember. I feel like I did that. I feel like I heard something like, don't do that, you know, like in a jokingly way. But I know I definitely should have put my foot down and been like, bro, don't talk about my friend like that. Like, stop it. I don't want to hear it. Especially like, it'd be different if you were just talking to me in confidence for whatever reason. You know, this thing would have been messed up too. But it'd be different if you were just talking to me or me and Big Mama in confidence. But you talking to me and Big Mama, you talking to your homeboy over here, this dude that don't even know Ruby like that, this dude that you barely even know like that. This is just the only class that you got with him. Like, you literally just making her look bad in front of a bunch of people, and I did not like that. So at this point in time, I thought it was a good idea for me to go back and tell Ruby. Y'all, what I think that for? What I think that for? Take my advice. It is never a good idea to tell your homegirl about her man. Why? Because at the end of the day, if she's been with him, even if she ain't been with him that long, like, guys are manipulative and girls don't know how to cut off a man. Girls will cut off a friend quicker than they will cut off a man. So when it comes to that relationship stuff, unless it's somebody that you have been rocking with from day one and she tells you like, girl, let me know, or you know, like, you've been in that situation, she's done that for you, don't tell these females about their men, okay? Let them find out on their own. Unless you physically see him like actually cheating, and even then, sometimes it's still a sticky situation. Just stay out of it, okay? I learned that the hard way. It was probably immediately after class when I decided that, like, I was tired of hearing this dude talk about my former best friend. So I walk up to Ruby and I basically let her know, like, hey, you know, you should probably, you know, like, check your boyfriend or make sure that you really want to be with this guy, because I don't think he has, you know, your best intentions at heart. He says a lot of like rude stuff about you behind your back to other people. He's talking about y'all's sex life, which apparently it wasn't a sex life to talk about, but he's talking about the fact that y'all don't have a sex life, like, and he's just putting a lot of your business out there. And I feel like he's trying to, I don't even necessarily want to say he was trying to paint her in a negative light, because honestly, like, I know Jody, and me and Jody are still cool to this day. I don't feel like Jody is the type of person, but I feel like Jody was just, one, he was young, and two, he thought what he was doing was cool. Some guys just go through that phase where it's like, being a fuckboy is cool. So it's like him talking, you know, about how his girlfriend wasn't putting out and how he was like, you know, gonna leave her and break up with her and all this and that type of stuff. That to him made him look cool in front of the other guys. So that's why he did it. And like I said, we were young. It was stupid. So I get it, you know. But at the same time, you ain't gonna talk about my best friend like that. So yeah. So I told her, I sure did. And she was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna check him about that. I'm gonna go see what that's about, because I'm not that type of girl. You're not gonna be talking about me like that, da 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 da, blah 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 blah. So I'm like, okay, cool. Didn't really even think nothing about it. Honestly, thinking in my head like, oh, I'm gonna be like, you know, fine. I'm gonna be like, you know, I just did a good deed. I just helped my friend out the very next day. Jody come up to me in our little friend circle, and he like, man, Shay, you went back and you told that girl blah 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 blah, and I didn't even say that. That was a lie. And I was like, but you did say that though. But you did say that, and you did. So stop lying, like, own up to what you said. So he just started going back and forth like how he didn't say it, and I'm like, well, you did. So at this point, so I asked Big Mama, I'm like, Big Mama, you were here. Didn't he say da 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 blah 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 about Ruby? She was not on my side at all. Mind you, Big Mama is friends with Ruby too. So I did not understand, like, girl, why are you taking up for this nigga? But she was like, well, he didn't say it like that. I don't think he meant it like that. And I'm like, no, because that's what he said. Like, how else could you mean it? What else did you mean? What else did he say? And she's just like, well, no, because I don't think he meant it like that. And you shouldn't have went back and told her that because he didn't mean it. And I'm just like, bitch, how the fuck do you know what he meant? Like, he meant what he said, and that's what he said. So what do you mean he didn't mean what he said? Like, oh my God. Like, I was just over it at that point. Then at this point, Jody's like best friend, then Kylie's stuff happening, and like, man, Shay, you shouldn't have told the girl they should stay out of that. Which, now that I know, now that I'm older, and I've had another situation on top of this one, I know now, like, you don't tell these women about their men's. But me, being the person that I was, thinking I was being a good friend, I had to tell her. So yeah, that's how that played out. A couple days go on and everything kind of returns back to its normal dynamic. I'm not really talking to Ruby like that. I'm still going into class with Jody and Big Mama and the rest of the gang, and we all, you know, kikiing, taking pictures, laughing, talking crap, whatever. It was not tension on my end, okay? But I know Ruby and I were like not talking at all at this point, which again, we had kind of already drifted. So I'm not thinking like, oh, okay, this girl mad, she got tension, she got beef or whatever. I'm just thinking like, okay, I tried to, you know, let you know about your guy. Clearly he sweet talked her and it was like nothing had happened. So after that point, I had made it very known to myself. I was like, I'm not telling her nothing else because clearly she don't care. And that's another reason why I stay out of people's relationships, because until that person is ready to let them go, no matter what you tell them, they are still going to be with that person. But I'm getting sidetracked. That's another conversation for another day. We used to go to this place every weekend, The Book. That's like where people our age group went to hang out. If you weren't at The Book, you wasn't doing nothing, okay? That was like the only thing that we had was The Book. So we used to go to The Book all the time. It was probably like Thursday or Friday. Jody coming to me and telling me, he was like, don't go to The Book this weekend. I'm like, why would I not go to The Book this weekend? Like, honey, I go to The Book every weekend. I am The Book. You feel me? Like, why would I not go? And he was like, if you go to The Book, Ruby and Puff and them supposed to be jumping you. What? What? Jumping me? For what? And he was like, yeah, because they think that me and you talk, which I told them that me and you don't talk. We just cool. You know, we all just cool. All of us in this class just cool. Me and you don't talk like that. But Ruby wasn't trying to hear that. So she planning to jump you. So don't go to The Book. But back then I had a very specific type. Do you hear me? And my type was tall and dark skin. And Jody was neither. Jody was brown. Jody was about my color. I need somebody darker than me. I need like chocolates. You feel me? Jody was like my color and he was about my height. Okay? Can't do nothing with Jody. I need me a tall 6 foot man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, what? Are you dumb? Like, no. So yeah, that happened. Who finna scare Shay off from The Book? Okay, she don't jump me. Okay. I'm in Claire like this. I text my cousin and I was like, so apparently Ruby and Puff supposed to be jumping me at The Book this weekend. And she was like, oh no, they ain't jumping you. Like, they may fight you, but they ain't gonna jump you. Okay. So me being the person that I am, once class is over, I'm walking around. I'm making it be known. Like, I'm looking for Ruby. I don't ask people, like, have you seen Ruby? I'm like, no. Like, which I wasn't doing it on no, like, no bully type stuff or no, like, crazy type stuff. So nobody thought nothing with the way that I was asking. But I was just asking people, like, you know, hey, have you seen Ruby? Is Ruby here today? Have you seen Ruby? And everybody's like, no, I mean, like, I seen her earlier, but I don't know where she is now. So, like, at this point, I want to search. Because because my thing is, even if you want to jump me or whatever, like whatever the case may be, we were friends before all this stuff happened. Like, you got my number You know me. Like, you come talk to me. You don't like the fact that you're going around telling other people stuff. It just was mind boggling to me. So I'm like, nah, you ain't finna tell nobody else you gonna jump me. You gonna tell me that you finna jump me. So I go up and I'm looking for Ruby. I look down the hallway and I see her. I see her. So at this point, the hallway was very, very like scarce, and everybody was kind of scurrying on to their classes because one class had just ended. So for the people that had to go to their next class that was in that same building, everybody was kind of, you know, going into their classrooms or whatever. So I called out to Ruby and I'm like, hey Ruby, come here. And she's like, you know, what's up? So I just flat foot asked her, so what is this that I'm hearing about you and Puff supposed to be jumping me over Jody? And I guess maybe because I know her, but like Ruby had this most like shocked, but I'm gonna act like I'm not shocked, but like, who the hell even told you that? How you even know that? Look on her face. Like, it was like she had seen a ghost. So Ruby was like, girl, no, we ain't gonna jump you. Like, why would you think that? Like, who told you that? Who said we was gonna jump you? Girl, it ain't nothing like that. And I was just like, okay, because I was just trying to see, you know, like if it was like a problem or something, you know, we can go ahead and handle this now, talk about this now, because I already told you. Well, I don't think I had told her at the time, but I was like, but me and him don't talk. Like, it's nothing like that. But you was gonna jump me over? She's like, girl, no, like, stop saying it. It was never nothing like that. Da, 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 da. So at this point, like I said, the hallway was kind of clearing out because everybody was going to class. So I just pretty much left it at that. I was like, okay, girl, cool, whatever. I was just trying to make sure it wasn't no beef, blah, 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 this and that. I know she said that because I know my friend, or my ex-friend, whatever you want to call her. Like, I know her, and she's very much one of those girls that was like ride or die for her man, and nobody better talk to her man, nobody better try to talk to her man, and all this and that. So fast forward, it's now the weekend, and like I said, everybody used to go to the book on Saturday. Well, I don't know if I mentioned this, but everybody used to go to the book on Saturdays. If we went to the book on a Friday, it was a lame. Don't nobody do that, okay? So everybody go to the book on Saturday. So at this point, I called up my cousin, letting her know, like, girl, what you think these people gonna do? Like, they supposed to be jumping me, and I asked her about it, and she said they wasn't gonna jump me, but you know, she could have just been saying it just to like have me off guard, so she just catch me. And my cousin was like, bro, like, don't trip about this stuff, because they're not gonna jump you. Like, they're not gonna jump you. Like, they not gonna jump you. And like, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I was worried about them jumping me, but I was more in shock because it's like, you really finna jump me, your ex-best friend, over this dude. Like, it was just mind-boggling to me. Like, Ruby is probably the first real best friend that I have had. So like, to know that like we had formed such this close bond, and like, you shouldn't throw it all away for a dude that you've been knowing a couple months. Like, girl, really? But anyway, so me and my cousin are getting ready to go to the book, and of course we get dressed and we go to the book. So I'm walking around and I'm just scoping the scene, y'all. I can't even lie. Like, it's not like I said, it's not like I was scared, but it was just more so like I'm anxious because I'm just trying to see, like, are these girls gonna jump me? Like, what's good? What's tea? Like, because we can go and get it popping. Like, that's just how I feel at this point. Like, if we're gonna fight, let's gonna fight, get it done, get it over, get it out the way. So mind you, of course, I see Ruby and Puff in the book, and they just chilling. They just looking kind of like side-eyeing me. This particular day, Ruby did not speak. So they really had me on my toes. And like I said, they were kind of like just looking at me, and I was looking at them, and they was looking at me, look at them, and I'm looking at them, look at me. Like, it was just so awkward. Mind you, it was still like a decent amount of people in there, but like it was enough people to where you would still go and have fun, but it wasn't so many people that like you couldn't see what was going on. So my cousin wasn't like making it obvious that she's like scoping out the scene too, trying to see what these girls gonna do. Like, she was still going off minding her business, but I'm literally in the corner by myself because if you're gonna jump me, I want to give you the opportunity to jump me. I don't want you to feel like it's the whole team behind me. I want you to come over here, do what you gotta do, and then my team just gonna come out of nowhere and just gonna waste that ass. Cause that's exactly like how me and my cousin had it planned. I was like, these girls gonna think that they're gonna jump you, but in actuality they not. But long story short, y'all, they didn't even do nothing. Girls love to say that they crazy nowadays. So one or two things: either she was just hyping his head up to make him think that she was crazy, or two, she really did plan on jumping me. But when I came to her and asked her like, "Hey, are y'all trying to jump me?" That took away her element of surprise and completely threw her off. So she was probably like, "I'm gonna be trying to jump this girl, and she gonna have people jumping on me." So I think she kind of just gave up on it or whatever. But yeah. So in actuality, she didn't jump me, but she definitely had talked about it, because you're not gonna make me believe this dude just made this up. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's the story time. If you guys like this story time and want to see more of these, leave me a comment down below. Let me know. Give me some ideas of what my next story time could be. If you think Ruby had every intention of trying to jump me, comment down below and let me know. Or if you think Jody just made up everything and was just trying to get me and Rudy to go at it over him, again, comment down below and let me know what you think. So yeah, that pretty much concludes today's video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give the video a big old thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.